One of the biggest problems people experience when doing a ring muscle up is struggling with the transition. And oftentimes, if you're strong at a chin up and dip, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll easily be able to do a muscle up.
So in this video, we're going to break down the things we think are most important about the transition and give you a few little things to try to hopefully improve your muscle up.
One of the more common errors that people experience when going from a dip to the top of our chin up is that we start to move the rings either forward or back. If we think about constant downward pressure into the rings while trying to keep the rings in the same place, then we have a little bit more success into rotating our body around the rings rather than the other way around. By using our feet, we can provide as much assistance as we need to help us get some good practice into it.
So as Ben was just saying about moving your body around the rings rather than the rings around your body, if you have a partner to spot you whilst you're doing your transition, then they can use a stick or just gauge it with their eyes on whether these straps and the rings themselves are moving relative to this rig. Especially during the pulling part, people tend to move the rings backwards away from the rig, and during the pushing part, tend to move them forwards away from the rig, which is a slightly different movement to how it would be during your actual transition in your ring muscle up, because if you're hung with your feet off of the ground, then you're going to need to move your body around the rings without that movement forward and backwards. So another variation you can do is using a band, and then that band that's moving across the rings right about there is also a nice gauge to make sure that you're pulling high enough in your pull-up so that you can actually start the transition. Because a lot of people try and start the transition when the rings are somewhere near their shoulders, but actually you need to be pulling the rings right down to that chest so that you can start the transition from a strong point. And then you can obviously use some assistance from the band during this transition, or you can keep some weight into the feet as well. But the band is just quite a nice kind of feedback to feel on your chest so you know when to start that transition.
All right, once you progress from the feet-assisted version, we can start to use a band to help pull us through. The band is a good opportunity to kind of sit in that L-sit shape, which is really helpful to find the counterbalance to pull your chest through into that position, as well as the lean back of your chest as you go into the chin-up portion of it. With a band, you can really gauge how much assistance that you're adding onto it, and it really challenges to make, you can really see whether or not you're actually keeping straight with this because, well, your feet aren't on the ground to distort the plane of motion. After the banded version, then you just have the body weight, right? And you can really kind of see the counterbalance that is really helpful to get you to pull through.